It's February, so we all start thinking about love because it's Valentine's Day. So today I talk about Venus. I give you two of my best remedies for relationships, but of course, February forecast and predictions also on this video. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. Aham Brahmasmi. So first things first, let's look at the planetary positions for the beginning of February. So the slow moving planets, Jupiter is still stuck in Pisces, its own house. Rahu Ketu still stuck in Aries and Libra. They're not going to have a move till later in the year in November. And Saturn has now moved to its new house just in January in Aquarius. The Sun is going to be in Capricorn. And Venus is going to start out being in Aquarius. Mercury is in Sagittarius, and Mars is going to be in Taurus. So let's look at the transits of February. So the first transit is going to be on February 6th. It's going to be Mercury. Mercury is going to move from Sagittarius to Capricorn. The next one is going to be Sun. The Sun is going to move on February 12th. It's going to go from Capricorn into Aquarius. And the next one's going to be the one of our favorite transits. It's going to be Venus right after the day of Valentine's Day on February 15th. It's going to go from Aquarius to Pisces. Now Venus exalts in Pisces, so this is going to be a wonderful transit for us. And the last but not the least is going to be a transit of Mercury. So Mercury does transit twice in February. So on February 27th, it makes a transit again from Capricorn, it moves into Aquarius. So there's a whole transit. The two zodiac signs of Capricorn and Aquarius are going to be very busy. What are the main things that we have to consider in February? One, that Saturn, even though it's moved into its favorite Multrikon Rashi of Aquarius, and it's just started that in January. Well, when the Sun starts to move towards Aquarius on February 6th, it's going to combust Aquarius already. So right after we start getting happy, the fact that Saturn has moved into Aquarius, the Sun decides it's going to combust it. So what does combust mean? It means that the planet is too close to the Sun, so it kind of burns that effect of that planet. So Saturn is not going to be able to give us its wonderful impact for a short time. So February 6th, Saturn is combust. So that means that Saturn's unable to give its effect throughout the month of February, at least until after February 6th. So we get the major impact of the Sun during the the last 3 weeks on the 3 weeks of February. So there's a combustion. The other thing obviously is that Venus exalts in February after the middle of the month. But before the middle of the month, Venus is in Aquarius, and guess who? It's with Saturn. Now Venus and Saturn are considered friends, but they give very different results when they're together. When Venus comes into Saturn, Saturn is an old, mature, responsible, very hardworking planet. So when Venus comes into contact with Saturn, what it does, it gives us an approach of taking a very responsible, serious approach towards not only love and relationships, but also in how we deal with our money. So it's definitely not the planet or the time where we think of romance and the bubbly kind of happy romance. It's where we take a very mature attitude towards our relationship. It's also, it's a better way of handling relationships. I would definitely assume that. But if you're thinking that you're going to get the bubbly romantic time, then it's definitely waiting for after the middle of the month when Venus moves into its exalted sign of Pisces and stays with Jupiter. That's definitely a more happy, young, romantic, bubbly time that Venus can give us. With Saturn, it gives us a very, like I said, mature, responsible, let me think about this relationship at a more serious level kind of an impact. So Venus goes through these two very different effects in February. It gives us very different impacts in February, from one extreme to the other. So I have a lot of detail coming up on the Venus impact this month because it's Valentine's Day. Now, I obviously, Valentine's Day is a very social holiday. It has nothing to do with planets per se, but for people that do believe, in Valentine's Day and celebrate it, it's a time that we think about our relationships. We should think about our relationships 24/7 every single day, not just have to think about them on Valentine's Day. But it's a good time for me to remind you on how we take care of our relationships. That's why I'm talking about Venus in February. Also, I'm reminding you that if you haven't listened to my Saturn moving into Aquarius prediction, I'll attach a link to that video in my description box. So we need to understand Venus in order to understand why it exalts in Pisces. And once we understand that, we know how we can manage our relationships better and how we can make the Venus in our lives a lot better and work for us in a little better way. So we understand that Venus exalts in Pisces and it debilitates in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. So let's take the significations of Venus first. Venus rules our relationships and finance. Jupiter rules our wisdom and spirituality as well. Pisces is the 12th zodiac sign, and hence it rules spirituality. It means letting go of things. It means moving away from the material things of life and moving to a higher plane of consciousness where we let go of the material desires. We give away things. We're not attached to material things, and we just don't worry about the small things of life, and we just tend to give away our things where we're not attached to them. So we're easily give them away. And that's Pisces. Hence, Pisces also denotes charity. People that have very prominent Pisces in their charts tend to be very big donators. They do a lot of charity. Hence, Pisces donates charity and giving away of our things. Sometimes we give ourselves away too, meaning giving ourselves away to the person or to the relationship. So when Venus moves into Pisces, it actually guides us or teaches us that in order to have a good relationship, we need to give ourselves up, meaning we can't always think of ourselves. We need to give ourselves up. We need to not worry about the little things of life. We need to have a more spiritual approach. You can't worry about the little things in life. You need to not have a materialistic approach in our relationship. We need to have a more spiritual approach in our relationship, because that's Jupiter. And Jupiter gives us the wisdom how to manage this relationship through a more spiritual approach. By spiritual approach in this case, I don't mean you're going to go to a temple or a church or religious organization. By spiritual approach, I mean a holistic way of thinking, meaning you don't just expect that your partner or your relationships will give you material things. You expect that you and your partner will only give you joy through your emotion and emotional well-being. So leaving aside the material things, you don't pick on your partners and your relationships to give you things at a material level. You expect your relationships to give you emotional happiness. Also, it teaches you to give away. So you're giving away not only yourself, but you also give away your ego. One of the main problems in relationships always arise because of your ego. So Pisces also denotes giving away of ego. Saints, monks that have attained spirituality, the first thing they learn is that they have to give up their ego, which is what the zodiac sign of Pisces denotes. It denotes giving away of your ego. So the reason Venus is also exalted in there is because it teaches you that in order to have a very, very good relationship, the first thing you need to do is give up your ego and just look at that person or that relationship at an egoless situation where you take your ego out and you just look at that person for what they are, not for who you are and what your status is, but just at an emotional, mental level, and provide that happiness to that person so they can provide it back to you. Hence, Venus exalts in Pisces because it gives you the wisdom to manage your relationship at a holistic spiritual level as opposed to a materialistic level. Venus also debilitates in Mercury-based sign, which is Virgo. Now, technically, Venus and Mercury are planets that get along, but it debilitates in its own friend's house. So the reason it does that is because Mercury is a sign or a planet that worries about the small details. Okay, so Virgo is something that's ruled by Mercury, but it worries about the very little details. Everything small, all the little details. People that have very strong Mercury in their chart work in the fields of accounting and IT, because those are the fields that require to be very detail-minded, very accurate, and hence That's what Mercury denotes. But when Venus goes into Mercury, you can't be like that. It tells you you can't be like that in a relationship. You can't be so detailed in a relationship where you keep picking on things about other people and relationships. You have to let the details go. You have to look at the bigger picture. Hence, when we in our relationships behave in a mercurial manner where you're picking on little details, you're picking on little things, the relationship is not going to work. Whether it's a love relationship or whether it's any other relationship, it doesn't work when we behave in a Mercurian manner, which is constantly changing emotions, which is picking on little things, finding fault, trying to be very accurate with everything. The relationship doesn't work. Hence, Venus debilitates in Mercury. When we take the Pisces approach, which is the Jupiterian approach, our relationships work. Hence, Venus exalts in Pisces. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, and Venus is, of course, denoted by Shukracharya, which is he was the coach or the guru of the demons, and Jupiter was the coach or the guru of the gods. So technically, they're opposing forces. So it could be considered that Jupiter and Venus are almost enemies, but they have immense respect for each other, where Venus goes into its enemy's house and it exalts. So it shows you how much respect they each have for each other. So it also teaches us that no matter what, we give respect to each other. So when Venus exalts in its enemy sign, it tells us that no matter who, no matter what, even if it's an opposing or somebody that's different from us, if it's a different religion, different sect, different community, different country, people that are different from us, you still respect them, because that's when Venus exalts. So it kind of teaches us to be very, very tolerant and accept people of all kinds, regardless of who they are. If they're different religions, like I said, different countries, you don't see that barrier. People that become very racist in their approach not only ruin their Venus to a very large degree, but they also ruin their Saturn to a very large degree. So this is what Venus is teaching us, that look, no matter whose house I go into, in fact, I'm going to an enemy's house and I'm exalting. So this is the lesson we're going to learn from Venus, is if you want to get good results in your life from Venus, you have to take on these qualities. You can't be racist. You can't be, doing hateful things against other people and expecting yourself to have a great relationship, either with people or with finance either, because don't forget that relationship also, the Venus also denotes your financial situation. People that get very racist, that get very hateful comments against people, talking bad about other people, always suffer, not only financially, but also in their relationships. So we need to understand that if we're going to have an exalted Venus in our own life, which means having good relationships with people in our life, having a very solid financial structure or situation in our lives, we need to have an exalted Venus. And even if we don't have that in our chart, we can certainly strengthen the Venus by having these Venus-like qualities in our own lives. Now that we've all understood the qualities of Venus and how we can all improve our Venus, I am still going to give you 2 remedies that are very good for if you have a relationship that's not going so well in your life. We've all been through that. So sometimes we do need a very good remedy. Now I'm going to give you 2 remedies. The first remedy was given to me by my Guruji. So I'm not going to take any credit for it whatsoever, but thank you to my Guruji for giving me this remedy. Lots of people have tried it, and I myself had to try it a few years ago, and it works really well. The only thing I can tell you about any remedy that I give you, or maybe other people give you, is to do it with complete faith. Believe that it's going to work, because no matter what, the power of manifestation is very strong. So if you do any remedy where you think, I don't think it's going to work, then it's not going to work. But if you do any remedy with conviction and firm belief that this is going to work, then it does work, because you kind of manifest the positivity of the remedy and the positivity of your own emotion, where you manifest that it's going to work. But I do know that this is a very positive remedy and that it's from my Guruji. So it is going to work. So the first remedy is that if you've had something where you're not getting along with somebody, or you've had a fallout, let's just say a breakup or a fallout with somebody, and you really want to get back together with that person, this doesn't mean just love relationships. It could mean a relationship with your parents. It could be with a sibling, it could be with a close friend, it could be with literally any relationship. Okay, so it doesn't just mean a love relationship. So this is what you're supposed to do. Couldn't get any simpler. So this is what you're supposed to do. You take a bottle of honey. Okay, it doesn't have to be half full, half empty. Don't ask me all these questions in my comments. I'm just telling you the remedy. Okay, so take a bottle with honey in it. Okay, and you take 2 pieces of paper and you write your own name on one piece of paper, and you write the other person's name on another person, the other person that you're trying to repair the relationship with, and you write their name on it. So here we have 2 pieces of paper, your name and the other person's name on it, the person that you're trying to repair the relationship with, and you fold them up, both of them separately, and you put both of them in the same bottle of honey, inside the honey, and you just close the bottle and you put it in a safe place. Now, if you guys have an altar at your home, you have a little temple that you do your prayers at, then you can certainly put it there. And while you're putting it there, just kind of say a little bit of an affirmation prayer to kind of strengthen it and say, please help me that I can repair my relationship with so and so, and put it in a safe place. Okay, and just kind of forget about it. You don't have to pull it out. You don't have to play with it. You just kind of leave it there and just kind of affirm that, fully believe that, that relationship will come back, and you come back and work out again. So this is the first remedy. It sounds very simple, but it does work. So you can try it. So the second remedy is when you feel like you guys have not getting along with somebody, or you've had a fight, or in general, there's just not just a fight, but in general, you just don't have a good relationship with somebody. Okay, and so sometimes there's family people, like you can have a relative, it could be your sister, it could be an in-law, where you feel like we just don't get along, or there's always a problem in this relationship. So this is more for that. Okay, but you can generally use it for any relationship, but this remedy is for something like that, is to gift them a Venus related item. So what are Venus related items? So Venus related items could be roses. You could gift them roses. You can also gift them like a very nice clothing item, that's Venus. You can also gift them perfume, that's a Venus related item. So you can gift them something that you think is a Venus related item, but it's also something that they would obviously suited to their taste. So you can bring it to them. You can say that this is for you. You can have that conversation, but bring the gift with them, with you. Now let's just say you don't live in the same place. You can definitely mail it nowadays, and then do pick up the phone and do call them and say, you know what, I thought of you and I want. So you initiate the conversation, but you do give the gift also. So the gift works very tremendously as long as it's a Venus related item. Don't do electronics, those are Mercury related items. Okay, do not do those. So definitely a Venus related item. Okay, so those are my 2 suggestions. I know they sound really simple, but sometimes the simplest of my remedies have the most magical of results. And now I'm also going to share with you my Valentine's Day roses, which I'm going to share with you. So the people that saw my video back in October, right before Diwali, know that I have this beautiful subscriber. She owns this company called Roses Forever. It's called Rose Forever. Okay, they're based out of New York, and they do these roses. They do these rose bouquets. These are real roses. I'm going to hold this up closer. These are real roses, but they're preserved with natural oil. Okay, and they're completely vegan. They come in this box, and you won't believe this, they last for 1 year. So they last for 1 year, and so she sent me this to wish me a happy Valentine's Day. Okay, so she sent me this. Now, back in October, she had sent me beautiful orange roses for my Diwali holiday. It's 6 months old, and they're still sitting in my living room looking just like they did from the day they got delivered. They were orange. And so for Valentine's Day, she has sent me these beautiful pink roses, because she knows that I don't care for red roses. I like the pink ones better. So it's in this crystal box. So you keep them in this box. Let me just hold them close to you. So you keep them in this box. You touch them, and they feel just like real roses. And they look in the crystal box, they look like they're just floating. They're absolutely gorgeous, sensational. Okay. Now for Valentine's Day, she wanted me to give all my subscribers this offer where you can order them on her website, and the website details are in my description box. So they have a very large percentage that's already off on the website, but she also wants my subscribers to get a $25 coupon off. So the coupon code is in my description box. The website is in my description box. The detail of all these flowers is in my description box. I really want all of you guys to go and order some flowers and send them to people in your family relationships, mom, dad, whoever, and surprise them with this beautiful bouquet. Now, of course, they come in all kinds of colors, all kinds of shapes. So she sent me this heart-shaped one. Look at how beautiful. Just they're stunning. I mean, and then, you know, we spend a lot of money for Valentine's Day. We spend them on fresh roses, and they're a week later, you've spent so much money and they're in the garbage. These last for 1 year, so you can always have them on display in your living room, in your bedroom, or somewhere where it's very special. So if you're going to send somebody Valentine's Day flowers, please choose to send these instead of the fresh ones that are just going to get trashed after. I'm going to move on to predictions now, but I just want to remind everybody that the predictions are based on Vedic astrology or sidereal astrology. They're also based on your ascendant, or the rising sign, or your lagna, which is the first house of your birth chart. They're not based on the sun signs, or the signs that you read based on in magazines, newspapers. They have nothing to do with that sign. So please make sure you're listening to the correct zodiac sign. So understand that these predictions that I do are based on just the transits of the planets. Your actual results are always going to be based on the planetary positions of your own unique chart, birth chart, and also the dashas and the mahadashas of the planets that you're currently under. Aries for February. Aries, in terms of career, Saturn has already moved into your 11th house of gains and desires. So it's a time to get the rewards of all the past hard work that you've been putting in. Your ascendant Lord Mars has also started its direct motion in the house of finance. So overall, this month is a very positive one in terms of both career and finance. Also, Mercury will guide you with good communication skills and intelligence to achieve whatever it is that you want in terms of professional growth. This month is also exceptional in terms of business development and growth for people that own businesses. In the second half of the month, you may also get a lot of support from your seniors and bosses. You may also be very visible to them. Your hard work is going to be visible to them. And you also may get a lot of positive recognition from your bosses and seniors at work. So make sure you're prepared for that. Make sure you put in the hard work because you are going to be visible to them. They're going to be noticing you. Although it's not a very favorable time to start a new business at this time. Motivation is at an all-time high, your energy is great, and you have no health issues or concerns in this month. As far as love life is concerned, the first half of the month, it's going to be where you're going to take a very mature, responsible approach towards love life. You may be hardworking, you may want to ignore your loved ones and relationships. But at the second half of the month is way better, where you are going to spend a lot of money on your relationship and you may have a wonderful time as well. And it's going to be a lot more pleasant in the second half of the month. For students, this is a very positive month. You're going to have good energy to work hard, and you're also going to be able to see the results of that. So your focus is going to be wonderful and also going to feel like working hard on your assignments, and you're going to do well. The second half is better for achieving your dreams and aspirations, better than the first half of the month. Taurus for February. Taurus, your ascendant Lord Venus is with Saturn in the first half of the month, and then it exalts in the second half of the month. So it's going to have to be a very powerful month for Taurus in terms of career as well as relationships. Saturn's recent transit into your 10th house of career means that it's time for you to start putting lots of effort and seeing the rewards of gains from that as well. There may be new opportunities that present themselves as well. Think carefully before you jump on the first one. Remember, Rahu in the 12th house creates confusion in the mind, so you should take good guidance from somebody whose opinion you value, if necessary, before you make any career-related decisions. If you're looking for a job, this is the time you may get it. Promotion at work is also possible in February and March months for Taurus. Financially, this is a positive time as well, but control your overspending. Health is much more improved now compared to prior months. If you have had digestive issues in the past, you're going to recover now. This month is also very positive in terms of income and financial gains. Venus is with Saturn in the 10th house, which means you get good income from your job or from your business. The second half of the month is definitely better in terms of financial rewards because Venus will move into the 11th house. The 11th house denotes extra income, or you could see better financial rewards from your investments. You could also see a bonus or other kinds of material benefits. The 11th house denotes your social circle. It also denotes your professional network. So if there's anything that you need in terms of career growth, you can reach into your professional circle network of people that you know professionally and ask them for whatever it is that you need help on, and you will see amazing results from that. So make sure you utilize that transit really well, because if there's something you need in terms of professional career growth, make sure you reach into your professional network and ask for the support or help that you need. As far as love life is concerned, the first half, you're probably going to be very busy with work. So the first half of the month, you're going to probably not find time because I see you working very hard. But the second half of the month is going to be amazing because your ascendant lord gets exalted in the 11th house. You're going to spend a lot of time with friends and also socializing. But I also see that if you're looking for love, you may find it in the second half of the month. So make sure you're out and about, socially active. So if you're looking for somebody, you find that person there. Also, if married, the second half of the month, so much better. And married life is going to be very sweet after the second half of the month. Students, you'll do a little better. You may have a little more focus in the first half of the month. The second half of the month, you're going to lose complete focus. You're going to be so happy spending time having fun. So make sure you maintain that focus during the second half of the month as well. Gemini, for February. Geminis have been challenged with health issues and mental worries regarding finance for a very long time because of the fact that Saturn had been in their 8th house for 3 years. This situation is changing for them. It's just not as fast as they would like it to be. Gemini is ruled by Mercury and it's a fast-moving planet, so most Geminis don't have as much patience as some of the other ascendants. So now they're getting a little frustrated because it's been a long time and things aren't changing as fast as they would like it to be. Although things are changing, I assure them. Speaking of career, things get a lot better after the mid of the month because Saturn is now in the 9th house. The 9th house is a house of luck, and then Venus does come into that house and conjuncts with Saturn. So definitely career is going to start looking up for the Gemini people. The only thing they need to make sure is that they maintain very good relationships with coworkers and superiors during this Saturn transit. And they also have to make sure they don't take an aggressive approach at work, with everybody, their peers, their superiors. After the middle of the month, Venus gets exalted in their 10th house, so it might bring you some new opportunities. Make sure you spend some time on polishing your skills and as well as your image. After the middle of the month, Venus moves into the 10th house of career, conjuncts with Jupiter, and things start to look up quite a bit. And just make sure that you maintain very good relationships with everybody, like I already mentioned. As far as a financial situation is concerned, it does begin to stabilize just a little better. Mars was retrograde in the 12th house before, so a lot of Geminis might have had to spend a lot of money on things they didn't want to spend on. So the spending was high, but on undesirable kind of things, like it could have been health issues. So now Mars turns direct. It still stays in the 12th house, meaning the spending is still going to be somewhat there, but the spending may change the nature of it. So So it could be spending on traveling. It could be spending on things for the comfort of yourself or getting comfort. So as opposed to, negative kind of spending still stays until March, but it's spending that you may not feel so bad about. So try to control your spending if you're really worried about your finances. Speaking of health, your health does start to improve. I know a lot of Geminis will tell me, no, it's not improving. But trust me, it is improving. It's improving a little slowly. The main part is that Saturn is out of your 8th house. The Sun will be out of your 8th house by the middle of the month. And the only planet left in there will be your Ascendant Lord Mercury. And so the only thing that I'm going to say that is your overall health will start to improve greatly after the middle of the month. The only concern I'm going to point out, which is not a big concern, is to watch out for any throat infections, anything like coughs, colds, and allergies, which is greatly less than what you have been dealing with in the past. I know Gemini has just been suffering. I'm so sorry, but it's definitely improving. And by the end of February, all will be good. And you can tell me in March how much better you feel. And for those lucky Geminis that haven't had any health issues, that are younger Geminis, they've just been very mentally stressed instead. So February might have you a little bit stressed about money as well, but things start looking up by the end of the month. Love life is better in the second half of the month. Importantly, watch your communication with your partners. Try not to get into conflicts and arguments. Cancer for February. Cancer, as far as career is concerned, the first half of the month will bring you some challenges. You may not be motivated to complete your given tasks, or you may even get into conflicts with coworkers and superiors. You definitely need to be very watchful of your communication, verbal as well as written. Make sure that you check everything that you've written twice. Make sure you check for accuracies. Don't take on battles in your workplace due to your overconfidence. They will backfire and they will not go in your favor. The second half of the month is much better in terms of career as long as you maintain good relationships with your coworkers. Financially, although it's still an okay time as far as your regular income is concerned, you just have to be very careful regarding any new investments or changes in financial planning. Don't take on any financial risk at this time. Just kind of play it safe because your 8th house is extremely activated. So the chance of losses or the chance of investments not doing as well is very high. If you have been waiting for some unearned income, which would mean inheritance issues or insurance settlements or any other settlements of that nature, then this is the month where you may actually get them. If you're also waiting on any government funding of any sort, then this is also the month that you would get it. Sun moves into the 8th house, so definitely any financial benefits or rewards that you were waiting for from the government, you can expect to see them now. So speaking of health and relationship at the same time, the first half of the month is going to be challenged because Venus is going to be in the 8th house with Saturn. So you're going to be stressed about your relationships, and your relationships may not go as well because you may have conflict. So you need to try to avoid arguments relating to money with your relationships. So avoid that at all times. And also this stress may give you some digestive issues as well. So make sure that you watch your diet very carefully. Only eat things that, agree with you. So maybe some digestive issues during this month. And some Cancer could also experience some eye or vision problem, meaning, eye irritations or infections. So kind of watch for that as well. After the middle of the month, things change quite drastically and for the better because Venus moves to the 9th house, which is the house of luck. So things change much better. Your health is much improved, and most importantly, your relationships also take a turn for the much better. So love life after the second half of the month is so much more improved. So people that are looking for love may actually find it at that time. If you're single, if you're married, things take a wonderful turn, and marriage gets a lot better as well. Students, it's exceptionally good for students after the second half of the month. Also, some Cancers will travel after the second half of the month. The second half of the month is also a very good time for your father. So if you have your father in your life, make sure you tell him you love him and get his blessing so you can activate the luck factor in your life. Leo for February. Leos have been generally feeling a bit low on energy ever since Ketu moved into their 3rd house last year. And with Jupiter being in their 8th house, they also may feel like they're not getting rewarded or recognized in their career or profession. Well, February might have some similar results as well, where you may experience some stress and worries related to your career, and you may feel that you're really not getting the rewards of your hard work. It's entirely possible that you're feeling demotivated and don't feel like putting in a lot of initiatives. Again, this is due to the fact of Ketu being in your 3rd house for the last several months. Ketu brings a sense of detachment and the lack of desire to take action. And with Mars transiting in your house of career, it may seem like everything that you do in your career, all the effort that you do make, may result in some combat, some conflict at work. Try your best to avoid conflict or having a combative approach at work. This might work a little better for you because your 8th house is still active, so there, things could not end up so well for you. As far as finance is concerned, the Leo expenses are still considerably high at this time. Avoid the tendency to take on too many loans or debts at this time. Your 6th house is very activated due to the presence of Sun in there. And even though your finances seem okay, your income seems okay, the expenses are out of control, and they have been for the last year. It's going to continue this trend of expenses because Jupiter does aspect the 12th house. So watch your expenses. The income's not a problem. It's the high expenses that's the problem at this time. Unfortunately, because both the 6th and the 8th houses are getting a little activated at this time, your health could see minor issues, nothing major, but minor issues. You could have some leg pains, something in the lower legs also, and maybe some digestive issues at this time. Maintain a very healthy diet, and in order to kind of get over this temporary phase of ill health, maybe you can make sure that you watch your diet and have a good physical regimen. Married Leos, regarding relationships, your partner may be stressed about financial matters at this time. Try to be very supportive instead of trying to be a little combative with them. This maintains the relationship really well. Venus is exalted in the 8th house, so don't take on any stress regarding relationships or finance. This is just so temporary. Try your best to stay relaxed and actually be supportive of your partner, whether it's a love life or a married life. And that's the only way to maintain a stress-free relationship at this time. There's nothing wrong in your relationship. It's just the fact that you're going to worry about things, all relationships. Relationship with children might cause you to be a little worried about them as well. I did say worry about relationship, and that does include children. Students and those engaged in education, you might have to try your very, very best to stay focused and do well, because it does indicate that you're going to lose focus and be quite distracted. So do your best to stay focused. Virgo, for February. Virgo, as far as your career is concerned, you will do really well, but there will be great pressure on you to work very hard, and you need to have a lot of patience to see the rewards of your hard work, because it will come in later months, not right now in February. Business owners will face fluctuations in their earnings, so be very cautious in terms of investing in your business. The second half of the month is much, much better as far as financial profitability is concerned. As far as finance is concerned, there is the possibility of extremely high expenses in the first half of the month. Because the 6th house is extremely active at this time with a lot of planets, you have to take care not to take on too much debt or take on too many loans at this time. The second half of the month, although, is a little better financially and in keeping expenses under control. Virgo, your health should be okay this month as long as you take care of your diet, so you prevent any digestive issues that may come up. It's a good month for love life and relationships. Venus does get exalted in the 7th house of marriage after the second half of the month. So if you're married, you're going to spend some quality time with your spouse. As far as love life is concerned, make sure you don't let ego get in the way. Otherwise, it's going to be a pleasant time, especially in the beginning of the month. Also, if you're a student or you're still in education, it's an excellent month from a learning perspective and also from staying focused on your education. The only guidance I do have for Virgos is to make sure they keep their communication with everybody very pleasant. Don't take on a combative or a fighting approach with others, because Mars does aspect the 3rd house, so your communication may get a little fiery and you may get argumentative, so avoid that with everybody. Libra, for February. Libra, your ascendant Lord Venus is going to be in the 5th house with Saturn at the beginning of the month. So you're going to take on a very responsible, mature approach to all relationships in your life. Now, this includes relationships with children, your love life, and all aspects of managing your finance, especially investments. 5th house is generally considered the house of fun, creativity, and things that we enjoy in our life. But when Venus goes in there, you'd expect that you would have a lot of fun, but because Saturn is going to be there for the next 2 years, you're going to have a very serious approach to all these things that give us fun in our life. As far as career is concerned, this is an exceptional month for career, especially the second half of the month. You're going to expect to see some growth and recognition in your career. Your relationships at work will be very beneficial, and you may even get recognized for your hard work. You will get full support from your bosses and seniors. Financially, though, the first half is a lot better as far as investments and financial management is concerned. You're going to start managing your savings and investments very carefully, and the first half will make you see some good gains and returns from them. The second half of the month, although, is not as profitable because the Venus moves into the 6th house. So it's going to be an expensive second half of the month. You may end up spending a lot impulsively, so be very careful about that. As far as love life is concerned, because Venus and Saturn are together in the 5th house, it's going to make you take a very serious approach or a more responsible approach to your love life. You're not going to engage in any frivolous affairs at this time. If you're in a relationship, you may actually think about the seriousness of or the permanence of the relationship, and go forward and deal with it in that manner. Also, a relationship with children is indicated with the same Venus-Saturn combination. So you're going to take a very disciplinarian attitude towards children if you do have children. So you need to kind of watch that. Otherwise, over the next 2 years, the Saturn transit couldn't ruin the relationship with your children, or the children may resent it if they're very young. So make sure you manage the relationship with your children over the next 2 years carefully. After the second half of the month, Venus does get exalted in your 6th house, and Jupiter is already there. So the 6th house is a house of health. So make sure you take extra care of your health at this time. It's a good time to get into good health habits, and you should consider having a good physical health fitness regime as well. And one last bit of advice is that Mars is in your 8th house, so it aspects your 2nd house. The 2nd house is communication, so you really need to take care of how you communicate with your spouse as well as family members. Make sure you're pleasant and you don't take on a combative approach where you keep getting into arguments with family or your spouse especially. So make sure keep your communication pleasant. Otherwise, you may have very undesirable results at this time. Scorpio, for February. Scorpio, Saturn has moved into your 4th house, and it's going to aspect your career house for the next 2.5 years. So as far as February is concerned, this month makes you very task-oriented and focused on your work. You will need to spend more time on your career matters than on personal life. You will get good support and great visibility, not only from your coworkers and your bosses, but also you will be noticed by your competitors. So make sure you maintain very high standard of work and maintain a very sharp, positive public image of yourself as well. For business owners, this is also a very positive month when you see good profitability from your business as well. Speaking financially, this is an expensive month for you. You may have a lot of unwanted type of expenses. Now, although your income may stay status quo, your expenses are going to impact you a lot because they're going to be high this month. As far as relationships are concerned, understand that because Saturn is going to be in your 4th house for 2.5 years, that you're going to have mental worries, and your general domestic happiness or your mental happiness is going to be challenged for the whole time that Saturn is there. You're just generally going to stay worried about financial matters. Not that they're going to need to be worried about, that's just the impact of Saturn, where you're constantly worried about financial benefits, how you're going to make more money, and generally stuff like that. So, and that impacts your domestic happiness as well. Now, although the second half of the month, when Venus exalts in your fifth house, it actually gets a little better as far as relationships is concerned. So it's time for it's a good romantic time for Scorpio, especially if you have a love life. Then it's a good time. If you're looking for love, you may find somebody now, and it also is a positive impact if you're married. Then you'll also have a pleasant time in your marriage in the second half of the month. Relationships with children, or if your children are grown, then they will do very well too the second half of the month. And relationship with children, that will do really exceptionally well the second half of the month as well. Now, the only guidance that I do have is that because Mars is aspecting you, that you need to take care not to get too aggressive in your approach as well as your communication, especially with coworkers and at work, because that can be very, very damaging to your reputation at work, and it's going to ruin the impact of the Saturn impact on your career. So make sure you control your aggressive approach if you're having that, and make sure your communication doesn't get aggressive or overly aggressive or egoistic at this time. Make sure you have a very good relationship with your mother. Take good care of her health and tell her you love her, and definitely don't ruin your relationship with your mother at this time. Sagittarius for February. This is a very positive month for Sagittarius in terms of career and finance. Saturn aspects the ninth house of luck along with Sun in the beginning of the month. So this activates the good luck factor and development and growth in terms of career and finances. Some Sagittarius may even travel for their job, or to even get training, or for learning new skills and educational purposes. Now, Mars in the sixth house beats out any competitor or competition. So it's a promising time to get either promoted at work, or if you were looking for a job, the first half of the month is also a very promising time for that. Financially as well, it's a very profitable month for you. You could get income through various sources, such as obviously your job or real estate or other investments, or even bonuses at work. This is true for also business owners as well as people that are employed. Health is not a concern this month, especially the second half of the month when the Sun moves into the third house, and it gives you excellent energy, healing, and determination to maintain very good health habits. And with Mars being in the sixth house indicates your health. Even if you do get a small health issue here or there, Mars will actually help to fight it and also heal it. So health is not a concern for Sagittarius. The second half of the month, Venus does exalt in the fourth house. So you may be very interested in making changes in your home improvements or in your home. Some of you may spend on even a new vehicle. So there could be some spending this month with those kind of expenses. As far as relationships are concerned, the only guidance I can give you regarding that is don't get egoistic or too demanding in your marriage or your love life. It could lead to some conflict and disturbance. And also you should manage your monetary expectation from your partner, because Mars is in the sixth house and it tends to disturb relationships, and Rahu being in the fifth house, it does tend to disturb your love life as well. So stay as pleasant as you can and avoid any unnecessary heated discussions and arguments. And students, Rahu in the fifth house has been very distracting for you. It doesn't let you focus well. So you can do the best you can to stay focused on your learning and education. Capricorn for February. Capricorn, as far as career is concerned, you'll find yourself working very hard this month, at least more in the beginning of the month. The Sun is in your ascendant house, so you will be noticed by everyone at work. So make sure your work is done and all their tasks are completed and your image is spotless. Your seniors and bosses will notice you. The second half of the month, you may see some rewards from all the hard work that you have been putting in. Financially, it's an exceptional time, especially the first half of the month is much better than the second half of the month. You could see good gains from real estate or your investments, or even your job. You could see some bonuses coming your way.
Now, even though you have good income coming, at the same time, you need to watch your expenses because your 12th house is getting impacted as well by Mars. So be very cautious about your expenses and be very cautious about making new investment decisions or financial planning. And if you're a business owner, you also need to think very carefully before you add any additional investment into your business. After the middle of the month, Venus exalts in your third house. So your communication would become very positive and pleasant, and you're able to express yourself at work. It's a great time to start any creative activity, such as writing or creating content, anywhere written or verbal. This is also a great time to verbalize what you need or expect at work if you want to have a meeting with your bosses and communicate to them your needs or expectations. This is a wonderful time. Remember never to have any negative or hateful communication at this time because it does ruin the positive impact of the third house. Rahu in the fourth house counsels you to take good care of your mother's health and also to maintain a very good relationship with her. Health is not a concern for Capricorn in February. However, Mars in the fifth house does provide some challenges for as far as love life is concerned and as far as relationship with children is concerned. So Mars is going to provide you a little bit of a combative or argumentative approach towards your love life or with children. So try as best you can to avoid heated arguments and discussions with your children or with your love life at this time. And in the beginning of the month, the sun is in the first house, so it aspects the seventh house, which is the house of marriage. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a bossy attitude towards your spouse. Obviously, that's not a good attitude or behavior to have, so make sure you watch that. Don't get egoistic or bossy with your spouse. There's a good chance of short distance travel in the second half of the month for Capricorn. And also, I've been saying this since Rahu's transiting in the fourth house since last year. There's a chance that Capricorn will relocate during this Rahu transit, but this is not just for February, it's even for the next few months. So if you haven't relocated last year, then the chance of relocation still exists for Capricorn.
Aquarius for February.
Aquarius, your ascendant lord Saturn has just transited into your ascendant house, but it will be combust for most of February, and so the sun will impact you more intensely instead. As far as career is concerned, Mars is in the fourth house and it aspects your 10th house of career. So you will make quick decisions and take fast action regarding how you want to handle your career going forward. It's a good time to take new initiatives and move forward with new ideas. Just make sure you don't have an aggressive approach in the workplace and you try to coexist with everybody in a pleasant manner. And just understand that you will still need to work very hard and maintain the effort that you have been putting in to your work since the last several months. If you want to see the results of your hard work, they will come much later. Saturn is in your ascendant house, so Saturn does give delayed results and rewards. So keep the hard work going, keep the effort going, and just be patient as far as rewards and benefits of the hard work is concerned. After the middle of the month, Venus exalts in your second house, and this is good news in terms of opportunities as well as finance. Speaking of finance, financially, it's status quo. Jupiter has been in your second house, so it's continuing to stay a positive time. And like I said, the middle of the month definitely activates your luck factor with Venus moving in there and getting exalted. So definitely a good time for finance after the second half of the month. It's a lucky time for you as well. Relationships, it's going to be a little different if you're married as opposed to you're not married. If you're married, then your spouse is going to be a little bit dominating maybe or need your support because the sun, which is the ruler of your seventh house, moves into your ascendant house and actually combusts your ascendant lord. So they're going to either need a lot of your support or they're going to be a little bit on the dominating side. Just try to be very supportive of them. And if you're not married and you are looking for love, this might not be the month that you get it. Also, if you are in a relationship, then you need to kind of watch your communication with your partner. Mercury sometimes gives, sarcastic or sometimes a little hurtful communication. So watch that, might not have the best results. So just kind of watch your communication. Otherwise, it should be okay.
As far as health is concerned, this is actually a good month for Aquarius. They might feel like they have a little more energy. They might feel healed a little bit. And that's because the sun moves into their ascendant house and actually combusts Saturn. Saturn usually gives aches and pains to Aquarius when it's in the ascendant house. When sun combusts it, they actually feel a little bit more energy. And students, or if you're in education, you're going to have to put in a lot more extra effort and a little more hard work, because Mercury in the 12th house is going to want to make you more relaxed as opposed to being serious about your studies or education. So try your best to be as serious and as more focused and hardworking as you can. Pisces for February. Pisces, Saturn has just transited into the 12th house. So this is going to cause some ups and downs in your career throughout this transit of 2.5 years. As far as February is concerned, this is going to cause you some mental worries related to the hard work that you feel that you have been putting into your career, and you're trying to be successful. There may be challenges with bosses, colleagues, co-workers, and people in the workplace. Business owners may face issues with employees, and also they may have to worry a lot about their competitors. After the middle of the month, this relationship issue probably isn't as bad as it is, or as challenging as it is in the first half of the month. And as far as finance is concerned, Pisces may have felt that no matter how much they earn, their needs and their expenses are just not being met. Rahu has been in the second house, and now Saturn and Venus are in the 12th house, indicates very, very high expenses, some of which could be sudden and unplanned. My guidance to Pisces during this whole Saturn transit of 2.5 years is to try and control their spending as best as they can. And again, the second half of the month is slightly better. And I did say slightly better because Venus does move into the first house and exalt there. So the expenses may be a little better or a little more planned. But again, this 2.5 year phase is still expensive for Pisces. As far as relationships are concerned, the second half is a lot better when Venus exalts in your ascendant house. So this is very good time for all Pisces people as far as relationships are concerned, married as well as the single people. And if somebody is looking for love, this is an excellent time to find somebody the second half of the month. And also one more note, that when Venus gets exalted with your ascendant Lord Jupiter in the first house, it has a very transformative impact on you by way of either healing your body or an approach to things in life in general. So think carefully through the second half of the month, whether you want to change your approach to life, whether you want to change your approach to relationships, or whether you need some healing energy. It's very positive impact. It's very transformative. Don't let it go waste. Utilize this positive energy in your life to make some changes in your life, in relationships, and your approach to finances. The second half of the month, when Venus gets exalted in your ascendant house, is also a very, very positive time for students with their learning and, getting rewards or recognitions if they've been doing some hard work. Also, excellent time for children. If you do have children, your relationships with children will also do very well during that time. As far as health is concerned, take good care of your health. Especially, you may have some pain in your lower legs, and also you may have some digestive issues. Make sure you're eating very healthy, and this is also a time when you want to start a good physical health regimen. So make sure you maintain a healthy diet and also have a good physical workout regimen. I hope everybody has a wonderful month. Stay happy,